So we have talked about adoption of mobile apps in a variety of different contexts. So today I'm going to talk to you about mobile app adoption in the context of love, right? So Love Unshackled, this is work with my co-authors at University of Minnesota who are all in the audience right now. So we've sort of talked about this a lot today. We know the shift from not only last decade, but the decade before, has moved from physical consumption, physical stores, online. We all just saw last week the shutdown of the last few Blockbuster stores that were still surviving. And now we really see the shift towards consuming things on our mobile phones, right? And this is what we've been talking about all day today. So one of our favorite companies recently said this. We've also reached new milestones as a mobile company now. 49% of our revenue comes from mobile, and 48% of the people who use this site in any given day are only accessing it from mobile. And of course, we know who that is, right? That's Facebook, right? And so Mark Zuckerberg just said this recently. So it really shows the importance of mobile for the Facebook platform, not only in sort of generating revenues, but in terms of reaching the consumers who are going to use that platform more. So Facebook has a platform that is free for all the users. They monetize this using advertising. But many of the models that are similar to Facebook actually use freemium models, right? And so the idea here is you allow several users to use the site for free. You can get a lot of functionality for free. But then if you pay a premium, you get extra features, right? So on things like Spotify, if any of you use that, you get ad-free listening to music, right? And a variety of other features as well. If you pay up, Dropbox, you get extra storage. Right, so we see this with all these different sites that many of us may use, Match.com, Hulu, LinkedIn, SurveyMonkey, and Last.fm. Right, so all these have sort of a free site that you can access a lot of features with, but a premium version of the site where you can get premium features if you pay a fee. And a key issue for a lot of these sites is actually monetizing freemium, right? So how do you get people to generate ad revenues, and how do you convert free users to premium users? And so we can look at this when we really look at how a freemium, what we call a freemium social community works. So a freemium social community is a standard two-sided platform, right? So you have these free users. The more users there are on a site like Facebook, the more value it is to get more users, right? For more users to join. And the more likely more advertisers will come, right? More users mean more eyeballs, mean more advertisement revenues, so you're going to get more advertisers. On top of that, these freemium sites have a premium version, right? And some of these free users say, okay, I'm going to pay up to get the extra features that I get when I'm going premium. The social part comes from these users being connected with each other, right? So on a lot of the sites, you can connect with other users, you can engage socially with other users on the site. And this turns out to be a very key feature in terms of monetizing these sites, right? So the more social engagement you have among free users, the more advertising revenues you're generating. And as research has shown, the more likely you're going to convert to premium. So if you're more socially engaged in the site, the more likely you're going to pay up for the premium subscription. In addition, once you're premium, if you have non-premium friends on the social network, you're more likely to influence those peers to convert to premium as well, right? So these are two key things that sort of go on. So free users convert to premium because there's peer influence. They were connected to one another. I'm premium, and now my friend is premium as well, right? So we see free users converting to premium because of social engagement and because of peer influence. Which that arrow represents, right? So free users who are socially engaged on the site drive advertising revenues are more likely to convert to premium, and then we see the premium users influencing free users to convert to premium as well. And we know that the premium subscriptions are really important to these sites, right? So with the online dating site that we're talking to, only 5% of their users are premium, but 75% of the revenues come from the premium users, right? On a site like Spotify, 25% of the users are premium, but 90% of the revenues comes from premium. So this is a really key question. The context we look at is online dating, right? So we do have this social engagement really mattering. Of course, we see these network ties that aren't explicit, right? You don't create a social network on an online dating site. You are connected with other people and do interact with other people, but not necessarily through explicitly creating social ties. So we do see social engagement, it matters, but we don't really see the peer influence part of this. And so an online dating context is a good one to study, right? We know that online dating is actually a growing phenomenon. 46% of the single population in the US in 2011 used an online dating site to find a partner, right? So this is a growing phenomenon. And online dating sites care about social engagement in order to make their money, right? So in online dating, what does social engagement mean? It means not only logging on to the site, but also viewing other profiles, right? I need to check out somebody if I'm going to try to hook up with them. sending messages, right? So I'm going to try to interact with them in order to eventually get a date with them. And that's from the platform side, right? So the site cares about getting users to engage with the site because that's what creates advertising revenues and makes them convert to premium. But users don't care about that. Users care about the matches, right? So we look at both whether social engagement changes with mobile app adoption as well as whether the user outcome, the matches, changes with mobile app adoption. And online dating is on the go, right? Mobile apps in online dating context is really a prevailing phenomenon, right? So I don't know if you guys have used any of these sites, Grouper or Tinder. How about all the actual sites? Nobody's going to raise their hand. All these actual sites actually have Plenty of Fish, OkCupid, Match.com. They all have mobile apps as well, right? So online dating is really becoming a mobile phenomenon, as many things are, right? So if you look at this graph, it sort of shows that desktop internet users are growing as are mobile internet users, but you really see this intersection about 3/4 of the way through 2013 where mobile is overtaking desktop, right? And that's where we are today, and so this is why it's an important thing to study, especially within our context. So why do we care about mobile? Before we cared about the shift online, how do behaviors change, how the new models of doing business working, and now we really care about mobile. How does this impact the value of the platform, right? We know we want users to socially engage. If they're not using the platform online to socially engage, how are we going to get them to do it on the mobile? Is this actually changing behavior on the mobile? Social engagement actually happening on the mobile, right? And so this relates to what's its role in freemium. Okay, so what is different about mobile? Well, we all know people use it everywhere. It's quite ubiquitous, right? So you wouldn't have taken your laptop to bed with you, right? But maybe you take your mobile phone to bed with you. And we see that now. And actually, there are a lot of statistics about how many people actually sleep with their mobile right next to them. And I'm sure many of us do in the room. Right, so we don't know. We know that the mobile phone is ubiquitous, but we don't actually know if this anytime, anyplace access is actually impacting behavior, right, or causally impacting behavior. So what is the causal effect of a PC user's adoption of a mobile application on these social engagement outcomes? We don't actually know. We haven't actually isolated that causal effect, and that's what we try to do with our research, right? So on the one hand, we know that mobile is ubiquitous. We take it to places we wouldn't take our laptop computer. We access it anywhere. We're in Starbucks. We date in line in Starbucks. You know, I'm hooking up with this person, and I'm on my mobile app while I'm getting a coffee. But at the same time, in activities that require a lot of information search, the small screen and the low computational power can be really challenging, right? So high information search sort of context, maybe the mobile app isn't going to change our behavior. And the last time I checked, dating is a pretty search-intensive process, right? Maybe not for all of you, from what I know it is, right? So when you think about looking at the causal impact of mobile app adoption on behavior, we have some basic issues with estimating this causal impact, right? And this big one is sort of self-selection. So users of the site self-select into adopting mobile application use, or using the mobile application, right? So maybe when I self-select in that, I'm the type of user who anyway is going to be more active, right? And I'm going to go out and pursue more matches, right? And this could be maybe because of unobservable characteristics, like I just broke up with the partner I had, and now I'm going all out into the market, right? And I'm going to adapt the mobile app, and I'm going to engage socially with it in ways bigger than ever, right? So you have this sort of these unobserved characteristics that we don't know about a user, right? We know their age, we know their gender, but we don't know that they just broke up with their long-term partner, right? And so normally when you try to think about determining causality in these sorts of situations, you say, okay, I'm going to run a randomized experiment. I'm going to gift the mobile app to a certain group of people and compare their behavior with people who don't have the mobile app. But what we actually care about here is when people select to use a mobile application, how does that impact their behavior, right? So we still have these unobserved individual characteristics that we're going to talk about in a moment, but we want to look at how mobile app adoption as a choice actually impacts behavior overall. So what do we do to do this? We do something called propensity score matching, right? So this is something that has been done before, where we match a given person who has certain characteristics, who has adopted the mobile app, with an alter ego who has not adopted the mobile app, right? So you have age, gender, all these characteristics we can observe, their prior behavior, and somebody who has adopted the mobile app, and compare their behavior with somebody who is not, right? But to deal with these sort of things we can't observe, right? Like maybe somebody breaking up with their partner, we match these people in a treatment group in one period with people who've adopted the app in a future period, right? So everybody eventually adopts the application, it's just in a different time period. I don't know if I explained that very well, but hopefully I did. So to account for unobservable characteristics, we match the treatment group who has adopted with the control group who has not adopted, but does adopt in the future. So all these unobservable characteristics are sort of captured by the fact that everybody eventually does adopt, just not in the same time period, right? So we look at the treatment group in the first period with the control group who adopts in the second period, and we compare their behaviors to see whether mobile app adoption changes behavior. And what we care about is, as we talked about before, social engagement, right? So logging in, viewing profiles, and sending messages. If people are doing this more, they're creating more advertisement revenues, more likely to convert to premium. And then, of course, on the user side, they care about matching. So what do we find? Well, the first thing to say is that we all know that men and women are different, right? So in our prior research, we found very many differences in behavior of men versus women in the online dating context. So we split all of our results on gender. And so when we look at basic login activity, so how many times does somebody log in, we see there's an increase of 59% when somebody's adopted a mobile application for women, right? So women who adopt a mobile application, their login activity increases by 59%. For men, 77%, right? So both of them increase. We talked about ubiquity, right? We talked about having your phone in bed with you. We actually see that across time, you're more likely to access the mobile application for this online dating context across more hours of the day when you use, or you access the site more often when you use a mobile application versus when you don't, right? So this is a Lorenz curve. Basically what we see is it shifts out. So this reduces the inequality of across time and logging in, right? And so we can quantify that by looking at the GINI coefficient. When the GINI coefficient goes down, we move away from, we get more equal across the time when people log in, right? So female PC users, the GINI coefficient is 0.67, and that reduces. For mobile users, it goes down to 0.59. Similar for men, 0.69 down to 0.58, right? So we see this ubiquity in terms of times when people log in, and we can see it even more clearly when we look at across the different time periods in a day, when do PC users log in and when do mobile users log in, right? So this is midnight, and we go all the way to 11 p.m., and we see, in general, yeah, the PC users, so the mobile users are the one overlaid, the blue ones on top of the pink underneath. So across time, we see a lot more login activity, right, for mobile users. And we especially see peaks. So this is for women. We see peaks, you know, around 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. and sort of the same sort of thing for men, right? And you can imagine that for advertisers, this could have some sort of impact, right? Maybe you attract a different type of advertisers for those people who are accessing an online dating mobile application between the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. I don't know. I won't get into details with that. But the next part of this is estimating a random effects model. So we want to actually see how viewing and messaging behavior changes over time. We do this using a random effects model, but I'll tell you what our findings are. So for women in the month we studied view 15 additional profiles when they are using a mobile application, and men 37 more, right? So men are more engaged in the mobile over time when they adopt the mobile app. So in terms of messages sent for females, a 282% increase. So this looks really large, and it is large, but the baseline is very low, right? Women in general send very few messages compared to men on online dating sites. And for men, they don't have much to increase. They already send a lot of messages, 71%. In terms of matches, 163% increase for females per month. So what we actually found before is that there's about half a match per month that people get using the PC, and so this doubles. This doubles when people use a mobile application, and men only increase 110%. So in terms of converting messages to matches, right? So so with the baseline of how many messages you send, how many more matches do you get? Women increase their message efficiency by 117%, and men only by 76%. But this is all significant, right? One of the most interesting findings for us is that people actually write longer messages when they're using the mobile app. So these messages are short in general, right? So they're about tweet-sized messages, but mobile messages are 17% longer for women, and these men are a few words. Mobile messages are only 5% longer for men. Okay. So the basic idea behind all of this is we really see that social engagement increases with mobile app adoption, right? And social engagement is really, really key for these freemium communities to monetize themselves, right? We know that social engagement not only creates advertising revenues because you're on the site more, you influence other users to use the site. What this site cares about, what online dating sites care about, is not only influencing, you don't have an explicit social network within the site, but if I'm getting some dates on this site, right, I'm going to go tell my friends, and that's what's going to get more users on the site, right? So they care about the offline or external physical social network on the site. So what we really do see is that with mobile adoption, social engagement does increase, and number of matches actually increases too, right? So it's beneficial for the user and for the platform. So we all know this, the decade of the mobile channel is upon us. We must embrace and engage with it, right? Social engagement matters. It increases with mobile adoption, and this provides benefits for both the platform in terms of monetization and the users in terms of love, right? And we were able to get at this causally by using this idea of the look-ahead propensity score matching, where we can control for some of these unobserved characteristics by staggering the time when people adopt the mobile application. And finally, what I didn't get a chance to talk about is this engagement is short-lived, and we've actually heard that before in other presentations today, that people adapt the application, right, and then it sort of dies off a bit. Maybe in the online dating context, that's not such a bad thing, right? Maybe it means you actually found a date, right? And then you're going to find a date, and you spread the word to other people to get on the online dating platform, and that's what they really care about, is that they're getting more users, right? But a key challenge for, I think, anybody in this mobile app world moving forward is how do we actually maintain engagement over time in this context. So I have questions next, but I know we're holding questions till the end. So, yep, so that's it. Thank you.